Hello everyone, this is part 3 of the Consumer Choice series. I've already talked about budget lines and indifference curves. Today I'll talk about how a consumer uses them to make the optimal or the best choice for themselves. A consumer faces a set of bundles. As a consumer is rational, an assumption that we have covered in the second video of the series, it means that a consumer will choose a bundle that she prefers the most from the set of her well defined preferences. For example, suppose a consumer is out in the mall. She wants to buy a t shirt and pants. She has a choice of two bundles: Bundle A with one t shirt and one pant, and Bundle B with two t shirts and one pant. Consumer will choose Bundle B because she gets one more extra t shirt and therefore higher utility from consumption. In the example we just covered, while we had a glimpse of how consumer selects their most preferred bundle, the analysis is incomplete. Can you guess why that is? If you guess that the consumer didn't take into consideration their income or the budget restrictions into mind, you'll be absolutely correct. A consumer has to select a bundle that they prefer the most. That is, it gives them the maximum utility given the income and the prices that they face. Let's see how a consumer does this. First, consumer will construct a budget line that will give them a set of all the feasible bundles. That is, the bundles they can afford. Then, the consumer will choose a bundle that falls on the highest indifference curve. Let's understand this with the help of following diagrams. We are consuming oranges and bananas. Let x-axis represent number of oranges consumed and y-axis represent the number of bananas consumed. Let M be the income of the consumer and PO and PB be the price per unit orange and banana respectively. We can draw a budget line with the intercepts M upon PO and M upon PB. A consumer can afford to purchase all the bundles that fall on the line or below the line. We can have two cases, one where the consumer consumes below the budget line and one where the consumer consumes on the budget line. Let's look at case number 1. Let the consumer consume at a point A on ICA with XO number of oranges and XB number of bananas. Point A clearly falls within the budget line, so we know it's a feasible bundle. But is it the best preference? Clearly no. Any bundle, say A dash, with XO dash number of oranges and XB dash number of bananas falls on a higher indifference curve than ICA and thus gives more utility. And this bundle is also affordable, so clearly it would be the better choice for the consumer. Now this will always be true for all the bundles that fall below the budget line. Thus we can say the optimal bundle must lie on the budget line. Now let's look at case number 2. The consumer is at point B on indifference curve ICB. At B they consume YO number of oranges and YB number of bananas. Is this the optimal bundle? Unfortunately for a consumer, it's not the optimal bundle. First, point B dash also gives the consumer the same level of utility, so it cannot be the best option. Second, we can move on to a higher indifference curve, say ICD, which is tangent to the budget line. Every point of this IC gives higher utility than ICB. But not all points on this indifference curve are feasible. The point that is affordable and gives consumer the highest level of satisfaction would be point D, where indifference curve is tangent to the budget line. Tangency means that the indifference curve just touches the budget line at a single point, and here it's point D. What does this mean for our bundle selection? It means two things. First, optimal bundle would be one where budget line is tangent to the indifference curve. And second, at tangency, the slope of budget line would be equal to the slope of indifference curves. Recall that for good x1 and x2, the slope of the budget line would be minus of px1 upon px2, where px1 is the price of good x1 and px2 is the price of good x2. The slope of indifference curve for these two goods would give us delta x2 upon delta x1, that is change in good 2 upon change in good 1. Thus the optimal bundle will be where the slope of the indifference curve and the slope of budget lines are equal. This means that px1 upon px2 should be equal to delta x2 upon delta x1, and this would be at a point where indifference curve is tangent to the budget line. In the example of bananas and oranges that we just took, this would be where PO upon PB is equal to delta YB upon delta YO, where PO is the price of oranges, PB is the price of bananas, delta YB is the change in the number of bananas, and delta YO is the change in number of oranges. So now we've covered consumer choice in a beginner friendly way. We know what indifference curves and budget lines are and how a consumer chooses the optimal bundle. If you have any questions, leave a comment and I'll try to answer. See you in the next one. Bye bye.